Welcome back to the show. We got another great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. And you can follow us in the Freedom Zone, a great way to support the channel, whether it's in YouTube, click the join button, or whether it's in Patreon, click the link underneath any video. This is a great way to support the channel for next to nothing, for less than the cost of a cup of coffee. You get all the daily videos with zero Google ads, and it's worth the price of admission in itself. Join us inside for all the extra content. $3.01 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 2.8%. Bitcoin 93,700 plus. Ethereum 1,700 plus. XRP is $2.09. We're off 2.1 in the 24, and we're off 8.2 on the 7-day. The range of price very quickly here, ranging between 209 and 216. So we'll keep an eye on it. But I tell you what, I think we're close to getting some legislation over the summer here, and maybe even this month they're saying we could get something passed. But I do know this. We have some stuff to look at, and I've got some stuff today. And I tell you, what you make of it, let's figure it out together. So that's where the current market is right now. But I do want to remind you, XRP Las Vegas, Bree Tracy is coming. Model, golfer, influencer, crypto enthusiast. Oh, she's coming. Did you catch it?
Hey everyone, this is a friendly reminder to go ahead and purchase your XRP Vegas tickets because the event is coming up on May 30th and 31st. We're going to have Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse and David Swartz there speaking, as well as the CEO of Uphold, of iTrustCapital, and Caleb and Brown, and so many other people in the digital asset space. It's going to be an awesome way to be able to learn so much during these panels, ask questions and connect with other people from the community. If you are new to this space, this is the perfect opportunity for you. Go ahead and purchase tickets down below. I can't wait to see you in Vegas. Hey.
There you have it. Get your tickets. I tell you, the VIP tickets are dangerously close to selling out. This is real. I'm telling you, they're dangerously close to selling out if you wanted one. And think about the flights and rooms. And by the way, with flights, remember the real ID for your license. Go get your real ID for your license. You got to have the star on it, I believe. Make sure that your license is real ID because there's a deadline in May that you have to meet to have that to fly. Remember that. So make sure you don't fool with that. I don't want to see anybody get hung up with some kind of something that got by you in any way. And Caleb and Brown, very quickly, join Caleb and Brown. Open your free account today, xrpwealth589.com, and start getting the best night's sleep of your life because there's human representatives. You can set up an appointment with them by email. You can call, do it however you need to. But once you start dealing with a human being at Caleb and Brown, it's over. You'll get it immediately. I don't need to say anything else. No hidden fees, no spreads, one flat fee, and no charge for institutional grade custody for retail folks like you and I. Uh-oh. Okay. I told you we're going to have some stuff to look at today, didn't I? Breaking. The UK Treasury rules out National Bitcoin Reserve, says following US lead not appropriate for its market. Now, what do you make of this? Uh-oh. See, this is why, listen, and I don't say this as a maxi. I say this because this is why I am a utility maxi. Because if the project has real utility, then you know there's a place for it to go to work. And then you understand that what is left to pontificate and speculate upon is how much utility will be gained by that project, right? So here is one of those things that says, wow, what's happening here? And then I just played this in this morning's video, but listen to Kevin O'Leary, who just a couple days ago was saying it's Bitcoin. Everyone's going into Bitcoin. But now listen to what Kevin is saying.
Michael Saylor is talking his book, all right? The guy sells stock and pref shares and debt and then buys Bitcoin with it. The stock trades at twice the value of the inherent Bitcoin. That smells like something that ain't going to work long term. Just saying. I like the guy, but it has nothing to do with strategic reserve of Bitcoin, which will never happen because we'll never get buy-off on a bipartisan basis.
He says we're never going to get buy-off on a bipartisan basis. Listen, I don't rule out. Look, I said if you want to do this and you want to get it right, you got to release U.S. digital asset bonds for Bitcoin, XRP, ADA, and other protocols that they believe will actually be used and desired inside the government system. Think wartime bonds. To me, that's the way to do this. But he's pointing to the fact that Congress is going to have to pass this bill. And there was a clip I played in the first video from this morning from Anthony Scaramucci, who was in this debate with Kevin. And he said that he thought it was a very brilliant move by David Sachs to say, don't let just the president's executive order create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Make Congress vote on it. Because if you do it through executive order, another administration could come in afterwards and wipe the whole thing out and cancel the executive order and basically crash the market. I'm paraphrasing his point, but that's exactly what he was getting at. But if you pass it through Congress, then it's safer and it's in place no matter who's in charge. So with that being said, where is this going? Is this all just a talking book before passing legislation to keep the price down so these big boys can continue to accumulate? We'll see. Meanwhile, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce says tokenization is a technology that could significantly transform financial markets. Well, we know that she voted unanimously with the rest of the SEC during Gary Gensler's tenure to in fact use distributed ledger technology to increase settlement times to T+1 and T+0. And that is indeed, such matters were underway, is the way Caroline Crenshaw had said it. And here we see more evidence that she is recognizing where all of this is going. There is a roundtable coming up in another 6 days for which the SEC Chair Paul Atkins will be speaking and addressing. And I tell you, these are going to be the kind of conversations we want to pay attention to, because these conversations right here fall in line with utility. These conversations fall in line with tokenizing the traditional financial markets. And that's why I'm here. Meanwhile, we see the Q1 report for 2025 has come out, and Brad Garlinghouse says was an incredible quarter for Ripple, with our acquisition of Hidden Road and end of the SEC case, not to mention institutional interest in XRP ETPs globally. Moving forward, the XRP markets report will look a little different. As some may remember, the objective of publishing these reports starting in 2017 was transparency into Ripple's holdings of XRP, which unfortunately was then used against us by the SEC and others. Our commitment to transparency doesn't change with this evolution. We will continue to publish our XRP holdings on ripple.com/XRP. Ripple and XRP related ongoing updates will also be shared through existing social channels rather than collated for a single end of quarter report. So there you have it. So that's really good. Love knowing that. And we will get into that probably tomorrow. I will take the report and we'll break it down for anything that we don't already know about. Meanwhile, big move happening in digital euro. The ECB launched an innovation platform with 70 participants to test payments use cases. Shout out to the Digital Euro Association members selected, and we know that Ripple is a part of that Digital Euro Association. Now, whether they're one of those partners in that, I don't know, but let's see if we can find out real quick. I haven't looked at this. Let's take a look at this. Does it give the list? It does not right there. So we'll see what happens there. But we know Ripple is a partner to the DEA. We will keep an eye on it. But meanwhile, back here at home, here's where we need to really pay attention, because I got something for you here. Number one, this is the first thing. Page 49 of the House's new market structure discussion draft. The market structure bill, it's a discussion draft, aims to clarify that transactions involving the sale of digital commodities do not constitute securities as long as those transactions do not involve the purchaser acquiring an ownership interest in the issuer's business, profits, or assets. There you have it. In other words, if you're buying and selling digital commodities on the secondary market and not directly from the issuer itself, it won't automatically trigger U.S. securities laws unless the sales gives you some kind of ownership or claim on the company's profits or assets. This is the language that we needed before the lawsuit on Ripple and over XRP. Now, with that being said, that's why I believe we have the Howey test, and I believe we will also have the Ripple test going forward. But that's the market infrastructure bill. Massive, and we need it. But here, talking about the Genius Act in the Senate. Well, remember, yesterday we covered the fact that there was 9 Democrats that said, you know what, we voted for this in the committee, but now that it's getting ready to go for a floor vote, we want to act like a bunch of jerks because we don't have power, and now we want to see what we can do to slow this down. Well, Senate GOP cools jets on stablecoins fast track. Senator Thune plays ball with the Dems, demands pre-Genius Act vote, compromise in the air as the Senate showdown looms. Now, going into this, it talks about the 9 Democrats that raised all kinds of problems after they voted for it in committee. Nonetheless, then there was this. And this came out where Senator Thune told offices the Senate is moving full steam ahead on floor vote of the Genius Act this week, despite opposition from a key bloc of Democrats. Now, this is coming from Punchbowl News. Republican leads want to call Democrats bluff on stablecoins. If it is a bluff, maybe not. Well, we're about to find out if they do move forward with that vote. And I hope they do move forward with that vote, because the reality is that this will expose where the Democrats are holding on to the 20% of the issues that really don't matter to the majority of Americans in this country. You know, that's the problem. The left side of the aisle has gotten themselves to where they're clinging to this 20% argument when they could just shift a bit and latch on to the 80% of what Americans want and get it done. Because you know what? This is much bigger than some kind of, partisan fight. In reality, and it's just as we saw when I covered the Congress crypto update from Ron Hammond. What did we see there? There's bipartisan support. 2/3 of Congress are absolutely crypto advocates here. So this doesn't add up that they're raising this fight and they're trying to stall this now. So especially knowing that they voted it through at committee. So we'll see what goes on here. Brian Armstrong from Coinbase says Congress has a real opportunity this week to advance stablecoin and market structure legislation. We strongly support the Senate starting debate on the Genius Act, and we need 60 votes to get there. We also welcome the House efforts to build on the FIT 21's momentum. Both chambers need to act now if we hope to pass comprehensive legislation into law before August. That's exactly right. And think about it. I mean, this is not far away here if they get this done. Austin King does a thread, highlights how 15.6 trillion was moved using stablecoins matching Visa. Whoa, that's a number. Even Stripe CEO thinks they could reshape their $91.5 billion business. What most people don't realize is that 2025 data paints an even bigger picture. This thread is amazing, but I've got to keep moving. But we will have Austin on stage at XRP Las Vegas, and I can't wait, because we just saw Real USD is now available trading on Gemini. Deposits and withdrawals are enabled. Buy, sell, and store. Real USD. Jack McDonald throws that out there. And then here was a reminder of what the stable coins are all about. And here you're going to hear the CEO of Stripe tell you that stable coins can work as a better mechanism than the petrodollar agreement does right now.
National currencies.
Thanks for the question. We see many examples of this. I think of the comparison to the petrodollar system, where starting back in the 70s, the series of agreements with Gulf states created an enormous new source of secular demand for dollars. We're seeing the same thing happening today in emerging markets, where people are taking enthusiastic advantage of this new liberty and this new capability where they can hold dollars and they can, again, get direct access to the world's preeminent reserve currency. I think this is a really big deal for global liberty and for global prosperity.
Quickly, this committee feels strongly that the interact of a federal regime for stablecoin issuers will ultimately inhibit China's ability to control this space. We've seen countries around the world take action to establish national regimes for stablecoins. EU, Japan, UK, Singapore have all taken steps to establish the regulatory framework for stablecoins, recognize the potential to modernize payments and enhance financial. So, Mr. Callison, again, quickly, as a global payments company, could you elaborate on how important it is for the U.S. to establish a federal framework to maintain U.S. competitiveness?
I think this is important for two reasons. One, there are the practical benefits for American consumers and for American business today. And I think it's simply on those merits worth putting forth a formalized federal framework that enables the stablecoin ecosystem here in the country. But then I think there's a second reason. I think this is what you're getting at, that while it is the case that an overwhelming majority of transactions today are in fact denominated in dollars, and that's enormously to the U.S.'s benefit, there is a risk that if the U.S. adopts a posture of discouraging and inhibiting stablecoin adoption, that the rest of the market will respond and adapt. And perhaps we're here in 5 years and the preeminent stablecoin currency is euros or renminbi or some other global currency, and I think that would be to the U.S.'s detriment.
There's no question about that. That's the CEO of Stripe, not a YouTuber. Replacing the petrodollar system is exactly what we've been talking about for years here. Stablecoins replace the need for the petrodollar agreement. What they haven't told us yet is that XRP will be used to underpin it. That's what I believe. I really do believe that. And then the question remains, will Ripple become a bank? Will they? They do have their own escrow. They do have their own form of money known as XRP. And now they have a stable coin too. So the maturity of this space, the maturity of Ripple's growth, the maturity of the development of where we're going is starting to become more clear to me. And I hope to you too. This here from Squirrely Nest says, after many years of waiting for XRP, I think we're getting close. Over the years, I've had many questions about XRP charts and TA, and now I'm making them. He says, I hope you enjoy. Well, shout out to Squirrely Nest for this, showing us here $4 to $5 range, 8 to 10 range, and then you guessed it, $13 to $32 range. Where will we land? I don't know. But let's zoom out a little bit here. Amonix shared this. It says, I know your patience is running out, but the biggest altcoin rally in history is coming. And looky here, looking at 2017, 2021, and here we are, April of 25. Kind of calms me down when I see that. Actually, it gets me a bit excited. Get all tickly inside. Then I start wondering, maybe I should fill my bags more. I don't know. Where am I going to get the money to do it? Nonetheless, the point is that this looks pretty damn optimistic right here. And it's not financial advice from me, him, or anyone else. It's just our digital perspectives. We'll catch all of you on the next one.